On 6/21/2024 at approximately 4:46 p.m., I was advised by Lieutenant Jerry Holman that he received a phone call from Christina Mack. Mack recently spoke to Angela Sedlowski on the phone. Sedlowski told Mack that she was planning to drive from New York to Indiana to burn down the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, murder Lieutenant Jerry Holman, Sheriff Tony Liggett, and Prosecutor Nick McClellan. She was also going to murder the podcasters on the Murder Sheet podcast. Lieutenant Holman said he spoke to an acquaintance of Sedlowski named Sue Wright, who confirmed she also heard Sedlowski make those threats. According to Lieutenant Holman, Mack and Wright both believed that Sedlowski was serious about the threats and capable of carrying them out. It was believed Sedlowski currently resided blah blah blah, but was thought to be in New York, staying with her family. Her current whereabouts were unknown. So in order to locate her and determine if she was coming toward Indiana, a ping was done on her cell phone. All the pings indicated the device was at such and such. In Dutchess County Sheriff's Department was contacted and asked to go to that address and do a welfare check. Approximately 10 p.m., I was contacted by Officer Super, who is with the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department, and advised she spoke to Sedlowski. Sedlowski stated she had no intention of coming to Indiana nor killing anyone. Officer Super's expertise and experience led her to believe Sedlowski was being truthful. Nothing further at this time. So I'll read through that again. So again, this was filed on 6/21/2024, called in by Jerry Holman and filed falsely, 100% falsely, as I'll get to in a minute, with the Dutchess County report by the ISP against Angela Sedlowski, who, if you will remember, Murder Sheet went to great lengths to cast serious doubt on her credibility. I think that they also referred to her as a crank, suggesting she might be unwell. This is, I'm going to remind you here that this is, that this is just one thing that I'm focusing on tonight. Just one thing, okay? Because it kind of just spreads. So I'll read it again. 6/21/2024 at approximately 4:46 p.m. I was advised by Lieutenant Holman that he had received a phone call from Christina Mack. Mack recently spoke to Angela Sedlowski on the phone. Sedlowski told Mack that she was planning to drive from New York to Indiana and burn down the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. Interesting. I just thought about this. If they didn't know where she was, why did they need to ping her phone? I'm saying, right? Anyway, it doesn't, it's practically immaterial. It's so asinine that she was planning on driving from New York to Indiana to burn down the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, murder Lieutenant Jerry Holman, Sheriff Tony Liggett, and Prosecutor Nick McClellan. She was also going to murder the podcasters on the Murder Sheet podcast. Lieutenant Holman said he spoke to an acquaintance of Sedlowski named Sue Wright, who confirmed she also heard Sedlowski make these threats. According to Lieutenant Holman, Mack and Wright both believed that she was serious about these threats and capable of carrying them out. It was believed that Sedlowski currently resided at XYZ, but was thought to be in New York, staying with family. Her current whereabouts were unknown, so in order to locate her and determine if she was coming toward Indiana, a ping was done on her cell phone. The Dutchess County Sheriff's Department was contacted. Keep that in mind, right? Okay, let me just break this down a little bit further here in my own head. So first of all, we have the first paragraph, which is just nonsense. But we have everybody, right? We have Carol, we have fire, right? Which I thought was really kind of creepy, because of all of the fires. Um, yes, it was. So this was 6/21/2024. Um, so but if we just take away this first paragraph here and focus on this, so her current whereabouts were unknown. So in order to locate her and determine if she was coming towards Indiana, so they knew. So here's what law enforcement, the full force and weight of the state, and our two named victims, right? Nick McClellan, certainly you notify the victims, right? To be on high alert. Because why else? If you truly believe somebody was capable of doing this, why would you even list a victim unless you were going to notify them? So I'm going to assume that this was done correctly and that Nick McClellan was notified. I'm also going to assume that Kevin Greenlee and Anya Kane were notified of this very dangerous situation. So, in order to locate her and determine if she was coming towards Indiana, a ping was done on her cell phone. Okay. The deal in Indiana, if I understand it correctly, is that if there's exigent circumstances, threats, it can be towards law enforcement, it can be like some sort of mass destruction type of situation. Um, they can find your location, but they must file a warrant after the fact, which is bananas, but here we are. Um, there is no warrant. I searched with some help through, I don't know, several counties that were possible places where there could have been a warrant, but there was none. So they pinged a private person's phone, right, on a fake tip. All pings indicated her device was in Dutchess County, New York. So wouldn't you think then, as law enforcement, you would have determined that the threat was over, right? I mean, the threat was over. She wasn't moving. She wasn't going anywhere, right? If they really thought that, because they were afraid, right? That Christina had told them that she was planning on driving out there, just hauling ass with her flamethrower and all of her things. Um, so anyway, but they did. They hauled off and went ahead and called this in, sent out some sheriff's department. Approximately 10 p.m. It took, oh, so it was 10 p.m. Okay. I was contacted by Officer Super and advised she spoke with Sedlowski. Sedlowski stated she had no intention of coming to Indiana nor killing anyone. Officer Super's expertise and experience led her to believe that Sedlowski was being truthful. As everybody knows, this is a big deal. It's a big deal for a handful of reasons. Because people um, people do not sometimes make it out of these situations where a welfare check is done. And I'm going to tell you about the welfare check in a second. I spoke to um, some of Angela's family who were there that night to corroborate, because again, I trust but verify, um, to corroborate that it happened. It did. What happened? Um, and I don't think that Indiana realized what they had stepped into here. So then we move on to Dutchess County. And I'm going to bring up, it's not the, I mean, it's my repurposing of the narrative. So I'm still awaiting some extra files, but I had to go through a formal request. But I did speak to one of the one of the investigators that was familiar with the case. Very nice dude. And I did get the actual narrative report from the the deputy that went out that night, or the couple of them. Um, but the thing is that while it was all done in Indiana, it was done and dusted that night. So when Jerry and Anya and Kevin and Nick all went and tucked, and Christina, Mac, whoever else went and tucked themselves in that night, they thought it was over. But Dutchess County didn't think it was over. They thought it was weird. They thought it was weird because it was very clear that there was nothing going on. And I'll also say this. I'll get to it. So Indiana slept well that night, but Dutchess County was like, hold up, wait a minute. And so I've gone through, let me just switch this. Cancel. Yeah. I'm trying to make sure that I have the one that I can scroll. Okay, here we go. Now, this is where things get interesting. Pardon me. Okay, so as you will note, the dates here, and this is me. I went and rewrote all of this stuff, so it was easier for me to follow. But again, I have the narrative report, and I am waiting for a couple of phone dumps, which I put in request for, because buckle up on that. That's yet to come. So this is, they were asked, and I'll just go through and I'll just read it. I'm going to go through once, and then we'll go back through. Okay. So on the day that Indiana called in, so it's June 21st, 2024. The incident overview goes a little something like this. On 6/21/2024, at the request of Indiana State Police, this agency was tasked with conducting a welfare check on Angela Sadlowski, town of blah, blah, blah. Request stemmed from ISP incident report. Get a pen. Number 24 ISP C009490, filed by Detective A. Smith, badge number 8010. According to that report, Detective Smith was informed by Jerry Holman that Holman received a phone call from Christina Mack. Mack relayed to Sadlowski that Sadlowski allegedly intended to drive from New York to Indiana to commit acts of arson and homicide against Carroll County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Holman, Sheriff Tony Liggett, Prosecutor Nick McClellan, and host of the Murder Sheet podcast. Both Mack and Sue Wright, an acquaintance of Sadlowski, reportedly confirmed to Lieutenant Holman they believed she was capable of carrying these out. ISP subsequently used cellular pinging to locate Sadlowski's phone at address. Deputy Super then went out. Okay. This is, I think it was a her. There were two of them. So Deputy Super interviewed Sadlowski at the location. She denied being any homicidal or suicidal ideation, stated she had no intention of traveling to Indiana. Deputy Super relayed this information to ISP Detective Smith, and ISP closed the case. With level 5, no additional leads to pursue. Okay, everybody's tucked up and sleeping well, right? Dutchess County instead, on 6/25, I think that the actual welfare check happened on a Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, maybe it was, I can't remember. But anyway, follow-up interview with the writer conducted a follow-up interview with Sadlowski at address. So the writer is referring to themselves. It's the deputy. Sadlowski advised she is an independent journalist investigating the high-profile Delphi murders case. She stated that while she does know Christina Mack, she had not had any contact with her in the past 6 to 9 months and is unaware why Mack initiated the complaint. Sadlowski provided Mack's phone number, redacted. She further expressed concern that ISP had used a welfare check to ascertain her location. And again, remember, I'm rewriting some of this, rather than out of genuine concern for her welfare. 628. So 628, right? So again, this is seven days later, um, that they're still pursuing this. This is they make a determination, and part of this I learned from speaking with some of the family, some of Angela's family, is that part of what happened in the intervening days, and I'll take a minute here to tell you what happened. There was the knock on the door, um, and I think that the timeline might be wrong that I was given from whatever, but it was at night, and the way it was posed to me and the way that it sounded, it was pretty aggressive. Knocking, looked out the door, um, and there were two Dutchess County Sheriff's Department cars out front, and two, quote, agitated, that's the word that I was given. It was her dad. It was her dad. Uh, um, that they looked agitated, and he opened the door, um, and was able to, said that they had their hands on, you've seen this. So in my mind anyway, this is the way that I see it, is their hands were, they didn't have guns drawn, but they certainly had them on their holsters, right? Now, what could have gone wrong, right? A ton. And I talked to Dutchess County Sheriff's Department a little bit about this, on their end, and why they pursued this. Um, and they didn't just leave it be, that they did then go, uh, after they established that, because I think that Angela wanted to, you know, obviously say, this is not me. I did not talk to Christina Mack. I did not have any conversation with her, and she wanted some follow up. And I think one of the things that also was mentioned, um, in one of my conversations, was that somebody from the ISP had used, it just made it sound like there was, use of other surveillance equipment. Now, that's not, I'm not trying to be opaque, but that I was not able to substantiate. But there was something that was there that made them want to find out what was going on, that a law enforcement agency would make a call that wasn't based on actual facts. So they were concerned, right? And so they did the next right thing. Um, so after this follow-up interview with Angela, they requested a subpoena. So on 6/28/2024. Now they actually requested. I want you. So we. Okay, I'm just going to get through this. Um, in consultation with their head, um, detective, and based on ISP intelligence unit background data. Okay, so they had background data on Miss Sidlowski, and I've requested that as well. Because again, this is just the overview, the narrative report from the, deputy super. So I'm wondering what they have on, why are they taking up their time, right? So based on ISP Intelligent Union background data and Sedlowski's statement, it was determined that Max, Sedlowski, and Holman's phone data should be compared I mean, right? And the subpoena request was filed in the DC, that's Dutchess County District Attorney's Office. Mac's cell phone was pulled. The subpoena results were electronically forwarded from AT&T. Analysis showed no calls or texts between Mac's number, Sadlowski's number, or the numbers associated with Lieutenant Holman in the specific time frame. Now, why this is interesting, and tracers, this is just one of the systems that they use. They were not able to verify which number. So I think they ran a couple of Holman's phones. So Dutchess County District Attorney saw enough probable cause, and certainly we know that's the lowest bar, right? But to subpoena a cop's cell phone. Wow. It's interesting, right? I mean, subpoena result received electronically. Analysis showed no calls or texts between Mac's number, Sadlowski's number, or the numbers associated with Lieutenant Holman for the specific time frame. So, a few other things that I wanted to go through. Apparently, and I'm going to have to go back and look this up, but from the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, and I'll know more when I get the files I spoke to. It's actually, the court clerk is Jody. We have another Jody. Very nice. And actually, she's compiling the actual files. And I asked for everything, including the subpoenas, whatever they could give me that is redacted, because I'm very interested to see what else is in that that phone dump, because that's going to tell us a lot about some of the connections here that have been long suspected, but paper trail. So apparently, the Indiana Intelligence Fusion Center is where all this hot information came from. And so I'm interested to see what that is. And you know, I again, I spoke to one of the people in Dutchess County, and you know, the thing that my question, I mean, first of all, what are your questions? Anybody? Anyone? I mean, what questions don't you have? Heyo. That actually is funny as hell. Um, uh, let's see. Yeah, I think it's not even stalking, right? So it's actually full on filing um, a report, full on filing a false report, which is actually a straight up crime in Indiana. Now, one of the things I want to make clear is that when I was speaking with I'll just call him the sheriff, Dutchess County. When I was speaking with Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, you know, it was very clear that one of the other reasons that they took this seriously was because there was a history of Anya Kane, Kevin Greenlee, and Christina Mack, and Bella all filing complaints to the state licensure bureau to get her social work license revoked. I've seen those papers too. There was nothing there. But part of the interesting thing to Dutchess County was that these people, right? All these people, Mac, Bella, uh, and one day I will pull those up, but it's a lot to get to. Mac, Bella, Anya, Kevin, all submitted pages and pages and pages of just it amounted to character assassination, was what it was attempting to be, but it was half-assed. Like, if I'm going to assassinate somebody's character, I'm going to bring some actual receipts. And one day I'll go through that if I am allowed, but all of this makes sense, and it made sense to Dutchess County that Angela wasn't just some crank. She was a crank that was onto something. She was a crank that knew that, yeah, she might know why this is going on. And the I think murder she so Anya and Kevin filed cost, I think, I have some communication back and forth with one of the attorneys that helped resolve that, because when you go after somebody's livelihood, it's going to cost you some money to get that taken care of, even if it's frivolous. So several $1,000s, 10,000 maybe, $10,000 to get that cleared up. But what recourse, right? What recourse do you have? And I think that was back in, somebody will let me know, 2023, I think, when they really started trying to go after Angela. So this has been a long time. They've been trying to come for her. Let me double check that, actually. Ba, 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 ba. Please talk amongst yourselves while I check my notes. Here we go. Yes. Yeah, so it was around 2023. So they've been, and again, there's a very clear pattern here. And I think the one thing that, again, that proved that Angela was trustworthy and believable, not only was the results of that cell phone examination, but because these same people, Anya Kane, Kevin Greenlee, who goes to great lengths to tell you he's an attorney, right? Those two filed an exhaustive, and trust and believe when I say batshit, it is batshit what they sent to the licensure board. They used Christina Mack, Bella, and Bella, who was also as their backup. So somebody asked me earlier, how do I know they're connected? I know they're connected because they're all over the place on paper. That's the thing. It's like they're everywhere on paper. And Angela's just one person that they've come after. Yeah, but not like this. I mean, this is not in this specific situation. I've seen a lot of weird stuff, trust me. But this is not exactly like this, no. And actually, if you throw in the journalism angle on all of this, absolutely not. and I've reported from some weird places around the world, and typically the corruption likes to stick in its own little sort of bubble, um, and certainly has pets that distribute a narrative. But wowie wow, this one is something else. Um, this is the portion of my little presentation where the stream could just go down. Because I am going to play some of Murder Sheet's content because they're continuing to go after Miss Sadlowski in, let's see here. And again, remember, this is just one person, right? That this has happened to. Let's see if I have it. Okay, so trying to think if I want to. Yeah, they'll copyright strike me. What do I care, right? I mean, honestly, I don't care because um, this is fair use, and I think that um, they're continuing to be um, just maligning people, whether it's the defense team or um, the due process gang. I mean, I think they actually took a swipe at Bob the other night, and Michael Osbrook, because they clearly, it's just gross to me. It's in December. It's at the sentencing hearing. That's right. So we're talking about, how weird, it was that presser after the verdict. You know how weird that was? Where Carter and Nick and everybody came out and didn't say something like, tonight we can sleep well because, we got justice for the girls. Want to thank the team, thank the fan. No, they came out and they said that basically the defense had leaked crime scene photos that will haunt apparently generations of family members, and also gotten a man killed. And, oh, by the way, Mr. Allen, do not pursue your constitutional right to appeal. Remember how weird that was? So, equally weird is that Anya and Kevin cannot let it go. I don't know if they need hobbies. This sort of concludes my journalism adjacent recounting for you, and now I'm going to just go into full on opinion, educated opinion mode. Okay. They cannot drop this. And I was stunned to find out after all of this, after all this paper, going back through 3 states, targeting one person, Angela Sadlowski. And again, there's more people, and I'm hoping more people come forward because this is bullshit. ISP shouldn't be allowed to do this. Murder Sheet or not, they're not journalists. And I have questions about that bar license after all of this. But what the hell was I saying? Oh, they can't let it go. So after that weird presser comes this weird podcast where they go out of their way to, let's just see what they say here. Maybe if I just play it in like 10-second bursts. And these are the people that conducted this investigation, right? So the ISP, Holman, right? Who's really inserted himself into sort of, not inserted, but was the face, beautiful, beautiful face of this investigation, right? The ISP, they, the people that are filing false reports costing Indiana and New York taxpayers money and putting law enforcement agents as well as civilians' lives at risk. Because again, people do get killed during these welfare checks. Again, check out Runkle. He has been following one that's luckily not resulted in anyone being hurt, but it happens. It just keeps going on. It just keeps going on. They're filing these things. So, and these are the people that are trying this huge case. Let's see. And you know what? I'm just gonna play it. If it gets struck, it's if it gets pulled down in the middle of it, it's been great. um, let's see here. I'm just gonna play little bits and bursts of it. If I, yeah, I know. Again, I'm not sure that I care. Um, honestly, because go ahead and do that. So this is the after, see how long has this been? 1 hour and 34 minutes. All right.
In this case, it went completely like so far afield of any actual reasonable criticisms of how the investigation was conducted or issues that came up, and went just into the realm of like weird fever dream. Wow, wouldn't it be wild if like, you know, Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett and Jerry Holman were like I felt we were a couple of filings away from them accusing law enforcement of being like literal Odinists.
Okay. Right? I mean, this is their line is that the defense is incompetent and that you know that it's outrageous, right? That oh my gosh, that this defense team is just so beyond. Let me try to find the spot where they actually get to. One moment, please. I can't see. Oh, my eyes. I'm old. Coming in. So it isn't. This part is important because this is where, and then we'll stop it right after this. Okay.
Of trying to murder her.
Oh yeah, Matt Hoffman, right? Yeah. And his buddy Angela Sedlowski. That's that's.
Ooh, wait. Did you hear that?
Gotten. I can tell you for a fact that an investigator on the criminal defense team works closely and has a close relationship that we documented in our due process gang episodes with someone who has falsely accused Holman of trying to murder her.
Oh yeah, Matt Hoffman, right? Yeah. And his buddy Angela Sedlowski. That's that's good. And that's the kind of caliber of person that this defense team tried to deputize.
Yeah.
This is in December. Jerry Holman very clearly called in a report that was designed to, if not intimidate, get her arrested. People get killed during these things. So my hope is that when all of the filings come in from, you know, places, from you know, Dutchess County, and I get all of the remaining information about all of the what do you call it? All of the phone dumps. Maybe we can see where some of this meets up, because I don't think that you keep coming that hard for a private citizen. So let's so keep this in mind, right? And also implicated in this is Murder Sheet. Did you know that the Indiana Rules of Professional Conduct for Attorneys, Rule 8.4, I think it is, if he turns out to be involved, and that's an if right now, but if there's phone conversations in and around this time, that's an actual that's not great, let alone making contact with a represented party, which is what they did, and asked him if he wanted to plead guilty. So remember this, right? The paperwork going back to 2023 when they filed all of that malicious, frivolous, let's call it frivolous, claims against her licensure. I want to steer clear of this. I mean, I understand, but let's not, I don't want anybody, the thing is that this is just information and it does need to be investigated. And I believe that. I very, very much believe that because this is a pattern and practice by ISP right along with Murder Sheet and whoever Christina Mack is. And I will let you know in my efforts to get some input from Indiana. I did reach out to ISP and ISP through their public information officer reached out to the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. I reached out to Kevin and Anya in a very detailed email. When I first got a hold of this, well, not when I first got a hold of this information, but when I was kind of honing in on what I was realizing was I was finding. And I also put all of it together and put it in an email to the Indiana Inspector General. And the reason that the Indiana Inspector General is important here is because they have oversight as an executive office to look into fraud, waste, abuse, right, and wrongdoing within the ISP. So, I sent an email to them, and I got an email back from a PR firm that they don't comment on whatever. They basically said we don't comment on uh, investigations if we're even doing them. And I do know that the PR firm probably has nothing to do with it because the Attorney General of Indiana and everybody else, I know there's also some Department of Children's Services investigations going on, so I'm sure they probably farmed some of that out, but I thought it was interesting that there's PR. That is something that is unique. That is something that I haven't encountered when dealing with government agencies that I'm investigating typically, or that I'm even just seeking comment from. You're put in touch with somebody in the comms department, right? So, I mean, so again, what else can I tell you? Oh yeah, it's somebody that does work with them all the time. And they're have a history working in the government, so it's actually not that weird. They're contracted with the state now, so there's wasn't really anything there. But yes, let me see what else. What else is going on? Oh, thank you. Aw, Dr. Vonda, thank you. That's so sweet. Yay. Thank you. What else can we go over?